Hello class, today we're on 2.6, solving absolute value functions. So just a reminder of what an absolute value function is. An absolute value function, or just absolute value in general, just has to do with distance. It doesn't, remember back in geometry, right? We were dealing with like perimeters or something like that, right? We had, say we had a triangle that looked like this. And it was a 3, 4, 5 or something, right? And we never dealt with negative length, did we? Regardless of where we were, say, on the Cartesian plane, on the coordinate graph, right? We always dealt with positive values, and that's kind of the idea of what an absolute value function is. Think of a number line here. I can go from 0 to 4, and that'd be a distance of 4. Or I can go to 0 to negative 4, but think, that's still a distance of 4, isn't it? Even though I'm going from right to left. So that's the whole concept. The absolute value of negative 4 just measures just the absolute value, the absolute distance from 0 to that number. So for instance, the absolute value of 4 is 4, but the absolute value of negative 4 is also positive 4. Okay, so let's go through the steps of how to get the of how to solve for x when dealing with an absolute value function. The first step is we want to get the absolute value by itself. So if there's anything being multiplied to it or added or subtracted to it, we want to do the opposite operation to get it by itself. Step 2, we need to set up two cases, one negative, one positive, which we'll talk about. And then finally, last step, solve for each x. We're going to have two equations, that's why I said each x. So, let's take a look at this first example here. We have 2 times the absolute value of 3x minus 5 minus 6 equals 0. So the first step, let's get the absolute value by itself. Notice that we have a 2 being multiplied and a 6 being subtracted. So let's get those over here. We want the absolute value by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to first add both sides, or add 6 to both sides, which will give us 2 times the absolute value of 3x minus 5 equals 6. And then notice that we have this 2 being multiplied, so we want to divide both sides now by 2. Which will give us the absolute value of 3x minus 5 equals 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so now this is what we want to do. We want to split this equation up into 2. So we know that whatever is inside of this is going to equal 3. But here's the thing, just like up here, it could equal either positive 3, or in this case 4, or negative 3, or in this case 4, right? So this thing could either equal positive 3 or negative 3. So we're going to set up two cases here. One is going to be 3x minus 5 equals 3, and the other one is going to be 3x minus 5 equals negative 3. And notice at this point I ditched the absolute value bars. Once we split it into 2, we don't need them anymore. And then here we just have two-step equations. So we solve for each x. We're going to add 5 to both sides here, which is going to give me 3x equals 8. And then divide both sides by 3, which would give us x equals 8 over 3. And then do the same thing over here, solve for x. Add 5 to both sides. We'll have 3x equals, let's see, negative 3 plus 5 is 2. And then divide both sides by 3. So x is equal to 2/3. And so there are both of our answers. X is equal to 8 over 3, and x is equal to 2 over 3. If we were to plug those values back in to the original function for x, it would be a true equation if we did it right, which I don't see any mistakes here. But okay, let's go on to another example. let's now say that I have, let's see, what color should I, I'll use blue again. Let's say I have 3 absolute value of 4x minus 1 equals 9. So again, our first step is we want to get the absolute value by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. Which will give us the absolute value of 4x minus 1 is equal to 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now that we have the absolute value by itself, that's our first step, we can now go ahead and split into 2 equations. Notice that one is going to be, this could either equal positive 3 or it could equal negative 3. Because it's inside absolute value bars, which means that it's going to come out to positive 3. So we need to express both cases. So you can say 4x minus 1 equals 3, and 4x minus 1 equals negative 3. And then again, just solve for each x. So add 1 to both sides. 4x is equal to 4. Divide both sides by 4. And x is equal to 1 here. And then over here, we need to add 1 to both sides. Well, I guess again, yeah. So 4x equals negative 2. And then divide both sides by 4, which will give us x equals negative 2 over 4. Or negative 1/2 if you prefer simplifying. So those are our 2 answers. Let's go over a couple more just to make sure we get this down. Let's say that we have an ugly one. Let's say negative 4, absolute value 2x plus 8, minus 2 equals negative 18. So again, let's get the absolute value by itself. So we're going to add 2 first. We want to move that 2 over. So we'll have negative 4, absolute value of 2x plus 8, equals, let's see, negative 18 plus 2 is negative 16. And then divide both sides by 4 because it's outside of the absolute value signs. So the absolute value of 2x plus 8 is equal to positive 4. And now we can set up our 2 cases. Let's see, so 2x plus 8 could equal 4, or it could also equal negative 4. So to solve, again, we'll just subtract both sides. It's a 2-step equation, not too bad. 2x equals negative 4, and then divide both sides by 2. So x equals negative 2. Then over here, same thing. I know it may be a little redundant at this point, but and then divide both sides by 2, which will give us x equals negative 6. So our 2 answers in this case are negative 2 and negative 6. Okay, one more example, I promise, and then we'll be done. And let's say that now we just have something like this. Oh, I don't know why I did it in green this time. Oh well. Okay. Let's say that we have the absolute value of 3x plus 4 equals 5. So notice in this case, the absolute value is already by itself. So step 1 is already done for us. Now all we need to do is just split into 2 and solve for each x. So 3x plus 4 could equal 5, or 3x plus 4 could equal negative 5. Let's see, subtract 4. That'll give us 3x equals 1. Divide both sides by 3. And x is equal to 1/3. And then over here, same thing. We'll subtract 4 from both sides. So we have 3x is equal to negative 9. And then divide both sides by 3. So x equals negative 3. There we have it. Our two answers are 1/3 and negative 3. So that's it. That's all I have for y'all today. All right. Have a good day. Bye.